Let me tell you something that could completely change the direction of your life. And it doesn't take money, status, or even talent. It only takes commitment. It's the habit of daily visualization. See, most people wake up and immediately tune into what's outside of them, the news, their notifications, social media, other people's opinions. They're reacting to the world. But the ones who truly change their lives, the ones who rise above average and step into something greater, they do something different. They start their day from the inside. They see it before they live it. They build the image in their mind of the life they want, not once, not twice, but every single day. Now, this isn't just some motivational fluff. Visualization is powerful because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. When you consistently visualize the outcome you want, you literally train your mind to believe it's normal, and once it becomes normal to your subconscious, your behavior starts to align with that vision automatically, almost effortlessly. This is how your paradigm begins to shift. I remember hearing Bob Proctor say, "You can't be what you can't see," and he was right. If you can't see yourself successful, if you can't see yourself healthy, confident, wealthy, deeply fulfilled, then how in the world are you ever going to become it? This is not daydreaming. This is intentional mental rehearsal. You sit quietly, ideally first thing in the morning, and you create the picture of the person you want to be. You feel the emotions. You see the details. What do you look like? Where are you? What kind of life are you living? Who's around you? What impact are you having? You experience it with all your senses, as if it's happening right now. This is exactly what top athletes do. Olympic champions, professional performers, elite business leaders, they all visualize before they perform. Because the body follows the mind, and if the mind is conditioned to success, then the body will find the way. Now here's the part that most people miss: consistency. You don't visualize once and expect your life to change. You do it daily. Repetition creates belief, and belief drives behavior. If you were to spend just 5 minutes a day visualizing your goals with absolute clarity and conviction, you'd start to notice a shift in your awareness. Opportunities you never saw before start showing up. Ideas begin to form. You become more confident, more decisive. Why? Because you've already lived it in your mind 100 times. You see, the mind is like a garden. If you don't plant the seeds you want, weeds will grow by default. Visualization is how you plant deliberately. It's how you say to the universe, "This is who I am. This is what I'm becoming." And if you keep saying that, your actions and results will catch up. Now, I'm not saying this replaces action. Not at all. What it does is it makes your actions more aligned, more intentional, and more powerful. When you visualize the result, you start acting like the person who already has it. And that's where the transformation really begins. Start small. 5 minutes a day. You don't need a vision board. You don't need perfect silence. You don't even need to feel good. You just need the decision. You can do it while your coffee brews or right before bed, but do it every single day. And watch how your mind, your energy, and your life begin to shift. And if you combine this habit with others, the habit of gratitude, the habit of self-affirmation, the habit of surrounding yourself with growth, you don't just change what you do, you change who you are, because at the end of the day, success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. So if there's one habit you simply must develop, it's this. Start seeing it so you can start being it. There's a voice in your head that speaks to you all day long. It tells you what you can do and what you can't. It tells you who you are, whether you're good enough, smart enough, capable enough. And here's the truth. Most people go through life listening to that voice without ever realizing they can change it. That's what self-affirmation is about. It's not just positive thinking. It's not standing in the mirror and saying fluffy words you don't believe. No, it's about rewriting the internal story that controls your life. You see, your self-image, how you see yourself deep down, is the thermostat for your life. It controls what you allow, what you reach for, and what you believe you deserve. And that self-image was shaped over years of repetition from your parents, your teachers, your peers, and most importantly, from you. And here's the thing. If you want to change your life, you've got to start by changing how you speak to yourself. Because nothing changes on the outside until something changes on the inside. Affirmation is the daily discipline of choosing new beliefs on purpose. You are literally planting new thoughts into your subconscious mind, thoughts of worth, power, confidence, and possibility. It's how you reprogram the paradigm that's been running your life on autopilot. Bob Proctor said, "You want to change your life, start telling yourself a different story." And he was absolutely right. Let me give you an example. Let's say, deep down, you've always believed that money is hard to earn. That success is for other people. That you're not confident enough to lead or speak up or build the business you dream of. If that's the script running in your mind, you can try all the strategies in the world, but you'll always sabotage yourself. Why? Because your actions will never go far beyond your identity. But now imagine this. Every morning you say to yourself, "I am confident, I am focused, I am calm, I am aligned with abundance, I am becoming a magnet for the right people and opportunities." And you don't just say the words, you feel them. You repeat them with conviction. Over time, that voice in your head starts to shift. The old doubts get quieter. The new voice becomes your truth. And when your self-image changes, your decisions change. Your habits change. Your results change. People think affirmations don't work because they try it for 2 days and feel silly. But repetition is the key, not emotion, not motivation. Repetition. That's how your subconscious mind learns. That's how the beliefs that built your current life got in there in the first place through years of repetition. You just didn't realize it. Now you're doing it on purpose. You're taking back control. You're installing the beliefs that match the life you want to create. Write down 5 affirmations that reflect the version of you that already lives the life you want. Not the struggling version. Not the someday version, the empowered version. Maybe it's, "I trust myself to figure things out," or "I am worthy of wealth and joy," or "I am disciplined and focused." You know what you need. Speak it, say them out loud. Look yourself in the eye when you say them. Say them when you're driving, walking, brushing your teeth. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just start. Reprogramming your mind isn't a one-time event, it's a lifestyle. A habit, and no, you don't have to believe the words right away. In fact, if your affirmations feel uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means you're stretching your self-image. That's where the growth happens. You're introducing a new standard to your subconscious. Let's not forget affirmation alone isn't magic, but it fuels the mindset you need to take action. It gives you the identity of the person who does the things that build success. And that identity, that's everything. Combine this habit with visualization, see it, then say it, feel it, and then get up and live it, one small step at a time. Pair it with gratitude, with study, with daily action. And now, you're not just repeating words. You're becoming someone new. Affirmation is the habit of becoming your own coach, your own supporter, your own believer. Before anyone else does, Because the world will only reflect back to you what you already believe about yourself. So if there's a habit you simply must develop, let it be the habit of speaking to yourself with intention. With purpose, with power, speak your truth until it becomes your reality. Let me tell you something most people overlook on their journey to success, the habit of study. Not just reading a book here and there, but truly studying, making it part of your daily life. And I don't mean studying just for knowledge. I mean studying to transform your thinking. That's the kind of study that changes your life. Bob Proctor used to say he read Think and Grow Rich every day for decades. Not because he didn't get it the first time, but because he understood the power of repetition. He knew that one reading doesn't change a paradigm, only constant exposure does. Most of us were trained to study to pass a test, to memorize and forget. But real study, the kind that reprograms your mind, is different. It's about getting ideas into your heart, not just your head. It's about letting those ideas take root so deeply that they begin to affect how you see yourself, how you see the world, and what you believe is possible for you. Why is this so important? Because we're not living according to what we know, we're living according to what's become part of us. You might know that you're capable. You might know that you have potential. But if that knowledge hasn't settled into your subconscious, if it hasn't become part of your belief system, then it won't show up in your behavior. That's why we study. We study to absorb, to internalize, to align ourselves with truth over and over again until it sticks. Now, think about this. If you spent just 15 minutes a day studying ideas that elevate you, ideas about success, prosperity, faith, creativity, leadership, how much different would your thinking be 30 days from now, 90 days, a year? This is not about volume. It's about focus and repetition. Sometimes just a single paragraph, studied deeply, can change the course of your entire day or your entire life. One line, one sentence that hits your heart at the right time can dissolve years of fear or self-doubt, but only if you give it your full attention. And here's the thing, when you study, you begin to notice the gap between where you are and where you could be. That gap isn't meant to discourage you, it's meant to awaken you. It's meant to stir something inside you that says, I'm capable of more. The more you study, the more you become aware. You start recognizing patterns in your thinking, in your language, in your choices. You catch yourself mid-thought and say, wait, that's not in alignment with the person I'm becoming. And that's when you know it's working. This habit of daily study goes hand in hand with visualization and affirmation. When you see your goal clearly, affirm it with conviction, and then feed your mind with the ideas and principles that support that image. Now you've got momentum. You're no longer just wishing for a better life. You're programming yourself to live it. And this isn't about studying everything. It's about studying the right things. Pick one great book, one great mentor, one great idea. Go deep. Don't skim, don't rush, reflect, ask questions, talk to yourself, challenge your old thinking, let it move you. Study the laws of the mind, study abundance, study leadership, study faith, study what it means to live with purpose and clarity. These aren't just ideas, they're tools. Tools that will shape your inner world, and as a result, your outer world too. The mind is like a muscle. You don't grow it by lifting once. You grow it by repetition, resistance, and consistency. The same is true for belief, for vision, for confidence. If you want to become someone new, if you want to shift the paradigm that's held you back, then study must become your daily ritual. Just like brushing your teeth, eating your meals, or checking your phone, Except this habit feeds your future. So don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel like it. Pick up the book, watch the lesson. Reflect on the idea, make notes, speak it out loud, come back to it tomorrow and the next day and the next. Because when you change what goes into your mind consistently, you change what comes out of your life eventually. That's why the habit of study isn't optional, it's essential. There's a common belief that successful people are fearless, that they just move through life with unshakable confidence, taking bold action without hesitation. But that's not true. The truth is, they feel fear just like everyone else. They've simply developed the habit of acting in spite of it. And that habit, that's one you simply must develop. You see, fear isn't a stop sign. It's not the universe telling you to turn back. Most of the time, fear is just a signal that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, that you're stretching into new territory. And if you're serious about growth, that's exactly where you need to go. Bob Proctor used to say, you don't get rid of fear, you move through it. That's what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. Not talent, not luck, not perfect timing, but the willingness to take action, even when you're afraid. Think about how most people live. They wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait until the fear goes away. They wait for clarity, for motivation, for some sign that it's safe. But that moment rarely comes, so they stay exactly where they are, not because they can't move forward, but because they don't act when it matters most. But let me tell you something. The fear will not leave you until you start doing the very thing you're afraid of. Confidence is not the cause of action. It's the result of it. You build confidence by taking the first step, and then the next. You earn your belief in yourself by proving to your own mind that you're capable, that you're stronger than you thought. The mind will always try to protect you from discomfort. It wants certainty. It wants safety. But the subconscious doesn't understand the difference between real danger and imagined discomfort. So it reacts the same way. That's why we freeze. That's why we hesitate. But here's where your power lies. You can override that programming. You can make a decision to act, even with the fear in your chest, the doubt in your head, the shaking in your voice. And when you do, you grow. Every time you act in spite of fear, your paradigm starts to shift. Your self-image expands. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone who's trapped by hesitation, but as someone who moves anyway. That identity becomes your new foundation. This habit connects directly to everything we've talked about: visualization, affirmations, study. When you visualize your future self, you're seeing someone who takes bold action. When you affirm your power, you're building the internal belief that you can act. When you study truth, you uncover the mental laws that govern behavior, and you start to see that fear is nothing more than an illusion reinforced by repetition. Now here's something practical you can do. The next time you feel that wave of hesitation, whether it's making a call, starting the project, speaking your truth, pause, breathe, and say to yourself, this fear is not in charge. Then move, even if it's just a small step, even if it's clumsy. You've just sent a message to your subconscious mind. I am no longer ruled by fear. The more often you do this, the easier it becomes. Fear doesn't vanish overnight, but its power weakens every time you step forward. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the version of you who was afraid to try, that person is no longer in control. So don't let fear stop you. Let it guide you. Let it point you toward the exact area of growth you need to pursue. Action is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. And the habit of acting in spite of fear, that's what builds that bridge, one step at a time. Because the life you want, is always on the other side of a decision you've been afraid to make. There's a simple habit that has the power to shift your entire state of being, and yet most people underestimate it. That habit is daily gratitude, and I'm not talking about just occasionally saying thank you or keeping a list once a week. I'm talking about training your mind to search for what's right, what's good, and what's working every single day. Why is this so powerful? Because your mind is like a search engine. Whatever you ask it to find, it will find. If you focus on what's missing, it'll show you lack. If you focus on what's wrong, it'll magnify problems. But if you focus on what's good, even if it's small, your mind will begin to show you more of it. That's the power of gratitude. Gratitude literally shifts your frequency. It lifts you out of fear, stress, anxiety, and brings you into alignment with abundance. You can't be in a state of gratitude and a state of lack at the same time. It's not possible. One cancels out the other. That's why this habit is so critical, especially if you're working to change your life, to break out of the old patterns and step into something bigger. You see, when most people think about gratitude, they think it's about giving thanks after things go well. But that's just surface-level gratitude. Real, life-shifting gratitude is about giving thanks before the evidence shows up. It's about being grateful in advance for the vision you're building, the goals you've set, the life you're creating, even if you can't see it yet. That's what starts to rewire your energy, your thoughts, your actions. And when you combine gratitude with visualization, with affirmations, with study, you create alignment. You're no longer just thinking about what you want. You're becoming the person who already has it, feels it, and gives thanks for it. That energy pulls the vision closer to you, faster than force or stress or willpower ever could. Now here's something practical you can do. Every morning, before you check your phone or get lost in the busyness of the day, sit quietly for 2 minutes. Take a deep breath and then speak out loud or write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Maybe it's your breath. Maybe it's the opportunity to start fresh today. Maybe it's a lesson you learned yesterday that helped you grow. And here's the key. Don't just say the words. Feel them. Let yourself actually experience the emotion of appreciation. Let it move through you. That feeling is the secret. That feeling changes your state. And that state is what changes your actions, your decisions, and your results. Some days it'll be easy. Other days you'll feel like there's nothing to be grateful for. Those are the most important days to practice, because that's when the shift is needed most. Bob Proctor often said, "Gratitude hooks you up to your source of supply." And he meant that literally. When you live in a state of gratitude, you're in harmony with the natural laws that govern abundance. You stop resisting, you stop doubting, you start receiving mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and eventually, physically. Gratitude also protects you from the trap of comparison. It keeps your focus on what's true and valuable in your own life, instead of constantly looking at what others have or what you think you're missing. That alone can restore so much peace and clarity. Now, don't just make this a morning habit. Use it throughout your day. Whenever you feel anxious, overwhelmed, or stuck, pause and shift. Ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this moment? That question changes the channel in your mind. It puts you back in the driver's seat. And the more often you do it, the more naturally it comes. You'll start to notice opportunities others don't. You'll begin to attract people who match your new energy. And you'll begin to enjoy the journey, not just the outcome. Because life isn't about having it all figured out. It's about learning to see the beauty in the process. And gratitude is how you train your mind to see it. So if there's one habit that can center you, ground you, elevate you even in the middle of chaos, it's this. Gratitude isn't just a nice idea. It's a daily discipline, a mindset, a vibration, a decision you make over and over again until it becomes who you are. There's one habit that often goes unnoticed, but it might be the very foundation of all lasting transformation, and that is the habit of intentional reflection. We live in a world that celebrates speed, hustle, and constant movement. But growth doesn't come just from doing more. It comes from pausing long enough to ask yourself, what am I learning? Where am I going? And who am I becoming? You see, life is always giving us feedback. Every result you get, good or bad, is simply a reflection of what's happening inside. But if you never stop to reflect, to really look at that feedback, you miss the lesson. And when you miss the lesson, you repeat the pattern. Bob Proctor often talked about awareness. He said awareness is everything, and he was right. The more aware you become of your thoughts, your decisions, your results, the more power you have to shift them. But that kind of awareness doesn't just happen, you have to build it. You build it through reflection. Think about it like this. If you were on a road trip and never stopped to check the map, you could drive for hours or even days in the wrong direction and not even know it. But when you pause, look around, evaluate your position, you can course correct early. That's what reflection does for your life. Now, reflection isn't about judgment. It's not about beating yourself up for what didn't work. It's about honest observation. It's about looking at your behavior, your mindset, your results, and asking, is this aligned with the person I'm becoming? Let's say you had a goal to wake up early, study your material, and work on your business, but you keep hitting snooze. Most people would either ignore it or shame themselves, but intentional reflection sounds like this. Why am I resisting this? What belief is running the show? What can I adjust tomorrow? That kind of thinking leads to change because it brings the unconscious into awareness. You can apply this habit to everything: your relationships, your finances, your health, your habits, your progress. You begin to see where you're consistent and where you're out of alignment. You begin to notice what drains your energy and what gives you life. And most importantly, you start to own your role in all of it, not in guilt, but in empowerment. Now, reflection doesn't have to be complicated. Take 10 minutes at the end of your day and ask yourself a few powerful questions. What did I do well today? Where did I hold back? What did I learn? How can I improve tomorrow? Write it down, speak it out, sit with it. It's not about the time, it's about the intention. It's about becoming someone who studies your own life with curiosity instead of criticism. And here's something beautiful: the more you reflect, the more present you become. You start to notice your thoughts in real time. You catch your patterns as they show up, not after the damage is done. That's real growth. That's awareness. That's how you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. This habit also deepens every other habit we've talked about. Reflection makes your affirmations sharper because now you know exactly where to apply them. It gives your study more depth because you're not just reading ideas, you're seeing how they show up in your life. It makes your gratitude more meaningful because you begin to see the growth that's already happening inside of you. And over time, reflection builds something rare and powerful: self-trust. You begin to trust that no matter what happens, you can learn from it. You can grow from it. You're no longer afraid of mistakes because you know how to extract wisdom from them. That's how you build resilience. That's how you build clarity. That's how you create alignment between who you are and who you're becoming. So if you're truly committed to growth, not just wishing for it, but building it, then make reflection a daily habit. Let it be the mirror that shows you the truth. Let it be the quiet space where awareness is born, because awareness always comes before change.